Welcome to a night of total terror.
In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time.
We must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotion.
Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all time.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
First came the night, then came the dawn. Now comes the most eagerly awaited day in horror film history.
Welcome back to Thursday of the Dead, episode 199. My name is Jace. In a way, this episode is a cautionary tale about collecting. For many years, I was serious about collecting 35mm horror trailers. It all started when I bought an original 35mm trailer for Dawn of the Dead. I found it randomly at a dealer table at a Fangoria Weekend of Horrors back in the late 80s or early 90s. Later, thanks to eBay, I started collecting a lot of cool trailers. At one point, I owned trailers for all of Romero's Dead series, and Night of the Living Dead was the hardest one to find. I think the one that I owned was a Doom. I had the thought for a while that I'd hire a local projectionist to assemble all my trailers onto large reels so I could screen it at a local movie theater. The issue was that my trailers were worth so much I didn't trust anyone to assemble them. There was also the cost of renting a theater, which is expensive, and I've learned firsthand from doing my own screenings in the last year. The lesson for me came when I saw a large Frankenstein monster bust for sale online that one. It was sculpted by, I forgot his name, Henry Alvarez. It was sculpted by Henry Alvarez. I didn't have the money to buy it at the time, and I got the crazy idea that I could sell some of my trailers to raise the money for that giant bust. The bust ended up selling before I was able to raise the money to buy it, but I'd broken the seal on my collection, and I decided I'd sell the rest of them to raise money for Halloween masks and decorations for that year. I thought I'd keep a few special trailers, like my trailer for Last Man on Earth and the Romero's Dead series. I eventually sold them all, with the exception of my original Dawn of the Dead trailer. Night of the Living Dead was one of the final trailers to go, and it brought in more money than I paid for it, which was now more money than I spent on the replacement you could see me unboxing in this video. As you can see from the rest of this video, I've started rebuilding my Romero Dead series collection. Night was expensive, but then it seems all 35mm trailers are expensive now. It's ironic since not many theaters have 35mm projectors anymore. This time I'm not going to go as crazy on collecting trailers as I did before. I think instead I'll focus on zombie movies. I used to own a couple of Lucio Fulci's trailers, like Zombie and House by the Cemetery. Now I think I'd like to find trailers for The Beyond and Gates of Hell. This is an expensive hobby and it takes a lot of patience in waiting to find certain trailers. I also own some 16mm TV spots for Dawn of the Dead. I own a single spot and a small reel with 5 different 16mm spots. That reel with 5 spots I've sent to 2 different digitizing companies, and both times the companies have sent the reel back with a refund and no explanation. The German Super 8 digests of Dawn of the Dead have been in my collection for decades, or at least the first 2 reels, and I've never found reel 3 to complete my set. That German Super 8 digest was included on the German 4K Special Edition box set of Dawn of the Dead that was released a few years ago, and it's really fun to watch. The 3 reels make up about 45 minutes, so there's a ton of stuff that's cut out, including my favorite scene from Dawn, where Peter finds the zombies in the basement of the projects and starts shooting them all. Thanks as always for watching, and be sure to tune in next week for episode 200, which will feature part 1 of my experiences attending the Living Dead weekend and my adventures in Pittsburgh and the Monroeville Mall.